to gain support for some conferences to have a season this fall. After retweeting Trevor Lawrence's "We Want to Play" message earlier this week, yesterday, President Donald Trump said he spoke to the Clemson quarterback over the phone about continuing with the football season. Trump also mentioned he spoke to LSU head coach Ed Orgeron. Shannon, what do you make of this as it continues to develop?
President Trump will use college football as a political story. Skip, I thought we weren't doing this anymore. Every time you and I try to get out of the sports and the political business.
The intersection of sports and politics. And we've had a head-on crash again.
And the most powerful political figure in the world drags us back in. Now, Skip Bayless, if I'm not mistaken, around the end of May, the beginning of June, Trevor Lawrence was out there talking about Black Lives Matter, and he said rational must outweigh the irrational. Justice must outweigh injustice. Love must outweigh hate. And if you see yourself in someone else's shoes and you don't like the way that feels, that's when you know things need to change. President Trump didn't call Trevor Lawrence. Why? Because you see why, Skip Bayless?
Back then.
Yeah, okay. You know why? No vested interest. He has no interest whatsoever.
Sure.
About Black Lives Matter and the injustices that's being perpetrated against black and minorities in America. But this football thing, because you see, I'm trying to figure out, Skip, how can the doctors in the North not know as much as the doctors in the South?
I don't know.
If you notice,
good question. Or the doctors in the West.
If you notice the conferences that are playing, can you tell them, give the people a little indication at home where they reside at?
ACC, SEC.
Let's see, North Carolina come down to Florida, then we start going over Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma. You see a recurring theme, Skip? You see that too, huh? Skip, this is not about, they don't care nothing about these kids. Oh, you'll be safe on the football field. So is that the only place you're going to keep them? So are you going to have the instructors come to the football field and give them their lessons? So they're going to eat on the football field. They're not leaving that. Or are they going to go back to the dorm? Or are they going to go to classes? Or when they bring those 50,000 people, students back on campus, and they have parties and they have get-togethers. So are you still feeling safe? Skip, this is what this is about. The reason why we're here, because someone said this was a hoax. This was all about trying to get me not reelected. And they didn't give it the seriousness that it deserved then. So here we are now. And we're still here. We want a mask. I just saw the sheriff in Florida, he mandated that you can't wear a mask in the sheriff department. And even if you're visiting, you see, we're here because of the path that they chose. And so now you put all this responsibility on kids. You hear the kids. Skip, when the kids say, well, we need to get paid, shut up and play. Now you want to listen to us, Skip. Now you want to listen to the kids. I thought we weren't listening to them. Oh, their voices need to be heard. Their voices need to be heard when they're saying something you want to hear. If the college kids are saying something you don't want to hear, you don't want to hear what they have to say. And that's all this is about, Skip. Skip, I want them to play, but I want them to be safe. I don't want these kids to have undue pressure, because that's a lot of responsibility that you're heaping on 18 and 20-year-olds. This says, okay, we're going to trot you guys out there to say we want to play, when you've never listened to them before. They told you they need stipends. They told you they want their parents to be able to come. And you didn't want to hear that. We are amateurs. Oh, and now you got Nebraska, Skip, talking about they want to, well, if the Big Ten don't play, we want to. You criticize kids. When it gets too tough, and they say, if it get too tough, I don't like kids that transfer. And Alabama and not Nebraska want to transfer.
Yep.
This is a mess. It's a mess. Hopefully they can get it resolved. Some conferences, the Big Ten and the Pac-12 says, no, we shutting it down. The MAC has said we shutting it down.
Although we do have Michigan and Nebraska saying, we want to play. Find us somewhere to play.
And
we'll figure it out.
And when you come back next year, that $40, $50 million that we normally divvy up, you ain't getting it because you played elsewhere. So you got so make sure you keep that same energy, Michigan and Nebraska. But Skip, this is a mess. You see what's going on here. Everybody sees what's going on. There's a vested interest from the guy up at 16 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Yep.
And this is what this is all about. He don't care about these kids.
So here we go again. We're talking political footballs, the cliche. This is a political college football.
Correct.
And the great irony here is it feels like it might become a key campaign platform, is I'm for college football and you're not.
Right.
Which is completely bizarre, but a sign of the times that we are stuck in. Right?
Mask.
Correct.
You either If you
You're
with the
a
mask,
mask or a non-mask.
Thank you.
Okay, I got it. So I don't want to get too political here because I'm no fan of that president, as I've said many times on here, but I'm not as political as you are or as driven as you are against him and it and everything that he stands for. But in this case, I sat back and chuckled and shook my head because that was a shrewd move on his part to call those two, Trevor Lawrence, the best college football, right? He's probably going to go #1 in the draft. And he has been outspoken, Trevor has, on Twitter saying we'll be safer in our playing environment than we will be if we don't play at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so our president said, aha, I love that. And Ed Orgeron's obviously the championship coach in the SEC, and they're going to play. Oh, I'll call him too, and I'll laud him as a great coach. There's nothing like this man, okay? Beautiful move because I still believe that, and this is completely unscientific on my part, I believe a majority of this country would like to see college football play.
Right.
I don't know what that number is. And obviously, everybody wants the kids to be safe, as you say. But I think there's a gut feeling, there's a rising tide of, wait a second, the NBA is doing great, albeit in a bubble, we get that, but they have no positive tests in the bubble.
Right.
And the NFL so far is doing pretty well because they have less than 1% positive tests, they said, as of now. They have not started running into each other yet.
Hey, what happens when they start going home on a regular basis, Skip, and you go out on Friday night?
Don't know. I told you, you're only as strong as your weakest link. If one man in that locker room says, hell with it, I'm going to the bar, or I'm going to wherever, whatever's open, I'm going to a party, you know and I know, outbreaks can happen. So it's up to everybody to commit and to be dedicated to the process. I think we both agree, because we're part of a process here at Fox, if you do it correctly, you have a pretty good chance of staying safe. I'm going to knock on wood for both of us. But you have a pretty good chance if you stop in the hall every chance you get to see the Purell machine and you wipe it down, you know, you just cover yourself in Purell, which we do. You have a chance. If you don't touch your face, you have a chance. So if you learn the rules and the protocol, and then when we leave here, we don't go to the club. We got a chance to be okay. We've been in the studio now for a couple of months, right? Okay, so I agree with the premise of what Trevor is saying, because if you leave the players to their own devices and they don't have anything to do, they're not playing, they're not even practicing, yeah, I think they're more likely to go to bad places, to go to dangerous places. But if half of their day is spent in that sort of antiseptic bubble that is created within the team confines, where it's structured and it's protected and it's drilled into you, you can't do this and you can't do that and you got to do that. You have a better chance of staying healthy that way. I get that. But my point is that all of a sudden our president is jumping on board trying to drive that bandwagon, because I think most of us say, gee, can't they figure this out? Because we're seeing the NFL starting to figure it out. The NBA figured it out. They're completely bubbleized. We got that.
But Skip, what if he took the same approach in the beginning and said it's not a hoax and say mask up? But that's how we get, Skip. That's how we got here.
Okay. He's obviously desperate to get reelected. I just thought it was a pretty shrewd move to say, I want to be with all those people out there who want to see college football, because is college football not akin to baseball? As
you look in the fall, you look for football.
You look for
fall football.
I know. I mean, I'm a big NFL guy, but I love college football.
Skip, let me ask you a question. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, Clemson plays Notre Dame. Clemson beats Notre Dame. Trevor Lawrence and all the rest of his teammates going straight back to their room and hold up in their dorm. Or are they going to the park?